Hey guys, Rob the 4 Explorer here with Endless Space 2, and I could not be happier to play this right now and show you guys all about Endless Space 2. I've been humbled and really excited to be a VIP for Endless Studios, Amplitude Studios, and I've actually had my hands on this game for about 4 or 5 months in various forms, and it's been really cool to watch it go from this foundation of a game to something that's really starting to come together and the vision starting to shine through and really start to be something special. So really glad to be here, and hopefully we'll have a good playthrough and I'll get to show it off a little bit. So let's go ahead and start. I've watched the Let's Plays the last couple days and I've noticed no one's doing a Cravers playthrough, so I think we're going to do a Cravers playthrough and just kill everybody, which I think is a great way to play a Let's Play. And you know, I've chosen the Cravers, but they are a carryover from Endless Space 1. So their gameplay isn't much different in that they're still very much, like devourers of systems, and they're bugs in a lot of ways. But some of their backstory is that they're actually created by the Endless as like a biological weapon, pretty much, and they're pretty awesome. In this game, they're called slave drivers, which means that they actually like drive their slaves. They just whip the crap out of their slaves to a point that they produce 50% more fidzy and generate a happiness penalty for each affected population. And they also devour planets, so they gain plus 50 fidzy on undepleted planets and plus 1 depletion point per turn on planet. So, yeah, a devouring race for sure. They also have big fleets, which means they get plus 2 command points and negative 25% dust on fleets upkeep. They have crowded planets, which gives them plus 2 population slots for tiny, small, and medium planets. They're eternally at war, which means they can't be at peace when the militarists are in the Senate, and we'll talk about the Senate in just a little bit. And they're fearless warriors, so they gain plus 5 manpower per person on systems. Basically, they're just like badasses. And they've got some really cool ship hulls as well. Queen class, that looks so badass, right? Let's talk about the others for a second. So the Vajani, they're basically, they're like the vampires of this game. They leech essence from populated systems, and they actually use dust to create essence as well. And with that, they are able to proliferate, make new people, and they also create these arcs, these giant colony ships that don't actually colonize planets. They just exploit the crap out of them. So they go off to various systems and they exploit them in these giant arcs. And you have to use essence that you leech and create to buy those things and to create people. So kind of like the Broken Lords, the Lumeris are very economically oriented. They buy stuff, they trade stuff, they use their trade routes and all that stuff to do crazy stuff. They buy colonies. They actually don't need to colonize ships or use colony ships to colonize planets. They just buy outposts. So they're pretty unique. And then the Sophons, they're able to research one era ahead of the era they're in. So they start off being able to research in era 1 and 2, and then once they get to 2, they're able to research 3, so on and so forth. So they have an advantage in technology, no doubt. It does cost extra science to be able to do that, but they're the go-to science race, and they're pretty cool looking. They've got some really cool ship classes as well. And these two are a carryover from Endless Space 1. But we're going to come back to the Cravers because we're going to do a lot of war and stuff. So let's go. I've chosen this red, kind of like vampiric blood red, because I like it, and it just sort of fits them. There's a bunch of different settings you can use here, and I've basically gone with everything default. The only thing I've changed was the small size so that we can get a lot more going and a lot more conflict going. And we only have 100 turns, so it's probably best that we keep things tight. Let's go ahead and start. I'm going to let you guys watch this video because it's awesome.
We were already hungry when they created us.
I don't think Amplitude Studios has an equal when it comes to turn-based storytelling. I really, really love the lore that they've implemented into their factions. Like that just, I feel like killing things now. If that was like the start of an FPS, like a first-person shooter, yeah, I would, yeah, yeah. So let's go ahead and start. First things first, let's go ahead and get some research queued up. So here is the new tech era technology system. So before it was like this tech web bubble thing, and then Endless Legend introduced eras, and Endless Space 2 has brought them over. So we start off with the Xeno industrial infrastructure already researched, as you can tell by the yellow. Anything you see in yellow is usually racial, so like it's a race benefit. Spacefaring species, which I think everybody has. Yeah, everybody gets the starting technology. And efficient shielding, which gives us both the worker class and the soldier class ship hulls. So, like I was talking about before, we're like consumers of planets. So I think our best bet is to just get things going quickly. The more people we have, the better off. So we're going to go ahead and get sustainable farms first off, and that way we can start, producing more people. The more food you have, the more people you get. For those unfamiliar with the system that Endless Games use with their resources, it's FIDSI, which is Food, Industry, Dust, Science, and Influence. And so the hope is to just basically devour our planets and wrench them for all they're worth. And in doing so, we're going to need more people, and we're going to need to really do our best to spread, like just populate everything. So here we are in the the system setup, the system menu, and this is where we set up our queue. So we're going to go ahead and get that infrastructure started, get some industry going. You can tell here, this is something unique to the Cravers, where it says partially depleted. So we really do consume planets. We just eat them up. And in 19 turns, this whole planet is going to be completely depleted. So we're wrenching it for all it's worth. So our FIDSI is actually 50% more than it should be. But in 19 turns, it's going to be like a portion of what it was before. So we need to constantly expand. So that'll be our plan. These things here you see, they're actually anomalies, and you'll see them in a lot of planets. And you can explore them two ways. First, you can either queue them up here, and they'll show up in your build queue here, or with an explorer ship, you can actually send a probe, start an expedition, and that will send a probe down, and we'll take a look at these things. Yep, cool. All right, and we can send that expedition down using a probe. So let's go ahead and see what the signal is. So it actually gave us +5 Transvine loot. And then let's take a look and see what the subterranean is. And that actually we discovered Hyperium, which is great because it's a strategic resource and it helps us build better ships, better components, better everything. Better components and better weapons and defense stuff. So very good to have Hyperium there starting off. There's some titanium here, and who knows what else is there, but we only had a couple probes, so we're going to send our ship here. We've got a few ships here. The Scavenger is our exploration ship, so we're going to send him out, and we're going to manually send him out so that we can figure out where the closest colonizable planet is and get that started quickly. The Pupa here, that's our colonizing ship, but we're going to leave it here because I want to find out where our colonizable planets are and send it as soon as we can. I don't want to use it to explore either because I don't want it to get hit by pirates either. So let's come back into the system here. Let's give my system a governor, and let's inspect him while we're here. So this is Risto Libera. Something new to Endless Space 2 that is a carryover from Endless Legend is that you can upgrade your heroes, like their starting equipment basically. This is very similar to an Endless Legend hero where you can give them new equipment, but in this case it's upgrading their ship. They each have unique ships. And Risto Libera here, he has his own little unique ship. And it's got a unique name. I know that for a fact. I think it's Flag. Is that it? The name of the ship is Flag. All right, so yeah, we can upgrade Flag there. And we can also take a look at the skill tree. So skill trees are pretty extensive, as you can see. After every 5 points in the first tier, you gain access to the next tier, and so on and so forth. So you'll kind of look over here and see where your points are divvied up into either generic skills, Craver skills, or admiral skills. He is an admiral, so he's best set on a ship, but I'm actually going to use him as a governor for now to increase my industry production. So as soon as I can, I'm going to go ahead and allocate a skill point there and get him building out ships and stuff. So let's go ahead and confirm him as the hero for our system. And as he's assigned there, he'll start gaining experience points and gain levels, which will help him gain skill points, which makes sense, right? All right, so here we go. We've got yes, sir. And here's sort of like the intro. This is who we are. We're the leader of the Cravers, a ravenous species who know only fighting, consuming, born or rather bred. And in the labs of the endless, as a relentless bioweapon, peace is not a concept you understand. You have been locked too long on one planet. However, in your homeworld soon be consumed. To avoid extinction, you must strike out from the birthplace and devour the galaxy, which is totally cool. I think that's going to be a great setup for a Let's Play. So let's take a look at all the UI elements and sort of the various components of this game as sort of like episode 0, and then we'll move into episode 1 very shortly. So here is your Empire summary screen. It's going to show you the objectives that you have for each time of victory you're going for. In this case, we're going to be going for the military victory, get some manpower going, a lot more people, Marines, win a lot of battles, and get a lot more command points. So the more we have of that, the more we're going to be able to work towards our military victory. Next up is the Senate, which is a new system here in Endless Space 2. It wasn't even something that's carried over from Endless Legend. So what happens is that as you progress through the game, various political parties start to gain favor within your empire, and depending on what your goals are is what you want to sort of back. So if I did want to move away from the militarist, the next political party that came up, depending on what choices I make, what buildings I build, what technologies I choose, what choices I make during quests, those type of political parties end up showing up in the game, and I can back those, or I can back the militarists by either financing their campaigns, intimidating the candidates, rounding them up, like the various political parties, with my manpower, or using propaganda with manpower as well. We're here, so let's go ahead and enact a law. So, quick little thing about this. So, as each of the political parties are in power, you can enact laws while they're in power. So, you can take a look to see which ones are which, and they offer various benefits and various costs, and they require a certain amount of support. So in this case, this actually requires a broad amount of support, and we have powerful because we're totally rolling. But as soon as we lose that support, then that benefit is lost. So in this case, Spoils of War Act, if we're getting plus 50 science and plus 50 dust per enemy ship destroyed, as soon as we lose enough power that we're no longer at broad political power from the militarists, we'll actually lose these benefits. So let's go ahead and do the morale bonus. Plus 25 morale bonus, 0 cost of influence, but with one of our fleets in orbit, so we'll make sure that we have fleets in orbit at all times. It may not happen in the first couple turns, but let's move on to the next one. So here is the economy screen, where you'll start eventually, once we get to Era 2, you'll be able to start trading or developing trade empires with trade headquarters and then trade hubs that you'll set up in various places, and you'll be able to invest in these trading companies and stuff like that, so the benefits from those trading companies become greater. So it's a really cool system. They're kind of revisiting it right now, trying to determine whether or not they want to add more depth to it or leave it as is. There were some like concepts that they were floating around that sound really cool, so hopefully something kind of really cool comes of it. It's already pretty cool, but I think there's some opportunity for some really cool stuff. The system of development. So once we get neural robotics, we'll be able to use various resources to give bonuses to our colonies. And then temples, I'm not really actually sure what that does. I haven't gotten temples. I haven't really dealt with that yet. So hopefully we'll be able to do something with that in this playthrough, and you can kind of take a look. Back to the technology screen, we've got sustainable farms queued up. What I'll do is I'll also queue up overclocked engines, which will give us 2 movement points on ships. Here's the military screen, where we can look and see where our fleets are, where they're doing, what our upkeep is. We can also take a look at manpower here, which is going to show us how many Marines we have in our empire, what our base increase is, what our net increase is, and then as we progress through the technology tree, we'll be able to get tanks and planes added to that breakdown of our troops. So yeah, and then we also can edit and create various ship designs. So we can come in here eventually once we start getting the strategic resources and upgrading some of our attack ships with better weapons and stuff like that, and better everything really. And here we are with the heroes management screen, where we took a look at Risto Libera, but we also can find out more information about the academy, what level it is, so you know what level the heroes are when they come out of the academy. We'll eventually find the academy within the actual system, and someone will eventually own it. And there's various benefits for all that stuff. So hero class probability, as you gain access to the academy embassy, you'll start seeing this change, and then you'll start getting access to more and more heroes. So there's 4 heroes in the galaxy right now, but that's because each of the empires that we have out there each have 1 hero. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that, and see as other empires actually gain heroes, how that number changes. And then the last 2 would have been the quest and global events screen, just like Endless Legend with the quests, and the diplomacy screen. And eventually there will also be a marketplace here in Endless Space 2. But again, I don't think I've actually mentioned it. This is an alpha game right now, so all the stuff isn't quite implemented, and there's some really good stuff coming. So I'm really excited for that. But marketplace will be in there, and you'll be able to do the marketplace stuff. And there will be some mechanics that almost force you to take a part of the marketplace this time around. So it's much more of an integral part of the gameplay than it was in Endless Legend. So that might be a good place to end it. So what I'll do is one more turn. We'll get through. We'll let everybody move. We'll zoom out a little bit. This is an opportunity to talk about the Fog of War. So, okay, let's look at the galaxy here. So there's a few different galaxy setups, which is really cool already. This one is, I think, the 4-tiered one, or whatever it's called, the 4 spiral. There you go, spiral 4. But you'll see, if you can zoom in just a little bit, you'll start to see like this crystalline fog of war. And the great thing about this game is that there's so many different like boons to exploration that really kind of encourage exploration, and I really like it. So not only do we have these ruins that we can use our probes to explore, but you can also use probes to push out and to like the strategic space and push out this fog of war. And occasionally you'll find systems that aren't attached to any other system with star lanes, and sometimes those systems are really good. I don't know if that's going to be the intended mechanic, is that if you find us like a random system, that it's going to be like a really good system. And I'm assuming there will be, like there'll be some serious benefits to exploring and using your probes. But yeah, it's a really cool system. It takes some getting used to. So like right now, I believe, no, this is our scavenger, this is an exploration ship. So eventually we could use a probe and actually start launching the probes out into these fog of war areas. And we might do that so we can show you. And we will. I will. I keep saying we like I'm royal. But yeah, I will do that. And I think this is a good place to end it. So we'll end episode 0 here as sort of like a setup to our Cravers playthrough. Stay tuned for episode 1, where we actually get really into it and just start killing things, eating them, consuming them, doing stuff, man. So hopefully you're enjoying what you've seen so far. Stay tuned for Cravers episode 1. Thanks, guys.